Thanks very much, Steve, for that really nice and helpful introduction. Um, as Steve said, my name is Peter Thomas. I'm a member of the Bipolar eClub, and I'm a practicing mental health practitioner, a registered BACP counsellor stroke psychotherapist. For those of you who don't know, BACP is the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, probably the largest professional body for therapists in the UK. And I've been a registered member of that as a practitioner for all the time I've been, about 13 or 14 years, all the time I've been working in mental health. Could we have the next slide then, please, Peter, or whoever's doing that? So I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about me without going into too much detail. I have lived experience of mental health distress through personal circumstances in 2003. That lasted about 3 years. Fortunately, I don't have bipolar, and I wasn't psychotic, but nevertheless, at the time, I suffered with anxiety and depression pretty seriously. So I got myself into psychotherapy and counselling on a one-to-one basis, privately paying for that. And that really did help me. It took a long time. I was in weekly therapy for, about 4 years. And having got through that and see how much it helped me, I wanted to do that for other people. So I did decide to train as a psychotherapist counsellor. I was actually working in the NHS at the time as a manager, and I was coming up against clinicians, psychologists and psychiatrists. But so that probably helped to expand my interest in mental health. But I trained part-time. I had to do this alongside my career working primarily in 2 big mental health trusts. One was South London and the Maudsley. I think we do have some members or some connection with that. And I also ended up working, before I retired from the NHS in 2016, at North East London Mental Health Foundation Trust, which is a big mental health hospital near Ilford in Essex. So I got myself on a training course in North London in 2006, and I studied and was awarded an advanced diploma in 2009 in humanistic integrative counselling, and I later specialised in attachment theory. So I am I would market myself as an attachment-based therapist. Some of you might know of the work of John Bowlby in the 70s and 80s, and attachment is very much kind of many counsellors are following that, the basic principles of that. In order to get qualified, I had to get a placement like all trainees do, and I managed to get one at Mind in Croydon, which I was very pleased at. Very good mental health charity. I'm sure you all have heard of and know about the excellent work that Mind does. So I started my counselling career there, hands-on. And I actually stayed there until 2021. I got all my counselling training done, and I saw 3 clients a week for nigh on 10 or 11 years. So I left in 2021 after the pandemic. But they got me some really interesting and challenging clients. And I'm very grateful to Mind for that. So from 2011 onwards, right through to today, I'm working as a registered BACP counsellor stroke psychotherapist. I do see clients in this room here. I had a client this morning at 10 o'clock, but I also split my practice and do quite a lot of work online on Zoom. I mean, that happened like it did for many counsellors in the pandemic. We had to suddenly stop seeing clients in March 2020, and work online, and that was quite a major transition for me and many others, I guess. So I'm now working in private practice. I'm not at Mind anymore. But I became a trustee of Sutton Mental Health Foundation in 2017, and I became the chair there when the incumbent left in 2020. A little bit about SMHF, as we call it. It is part of a voluntary and community sector organisation, VCSE, in the London Borough of Sutton, and I live very close to that now in southwest London. We provide mainly three things for people with severe and enduring mental health. Many will have been in hospital or sectioned at some point in their lives, and they come out, and we have a day centre in Sutton where we support them with food on some days a week. I was there earlier today meeting the chief executive. We do intentional peer support, and those are people with lived experience working with others to help them cope with and get through their mental health distress. And in 2021, we got NHS funding to implement a crisis cafe, and that's been running for 2.5 years now. I mean, like all public sector organs, we're under terrible financial pressure. So, you know, we keep going, and first thing tomorrow, we've got a meeting with NHS commissioners. So that's my background. I'll talk to you now at the next slide, please, about why I joined Rotary. If I can, someone can roll the slides forward. Thank you. I wanted really to take up some voluntary and community activities outside my professional work in the NHS. So I knew about Rotary, and I'd seen people wearing the badges, lapel badges and so on. There were 6 Rotary clubs in Sutton, in a small area. That tends to happen in London. It's not the case, I think, out in the, perhaps in the countryside somewhere, or Surrey. So I visited all the 6 Rotary clubs in Sutton and decided to join CHEAM. It was a bit different, and I liked that. It was non-traditional in the sense that it was a breakfast club, and that was quite new back in 2007-8 when I joined. But it did allow me to combine my full-time work and Rotary, because I was commuting up to town, you know, 5 days a week. And I felt it was quite a forward-thinking club, which attracted me, and it wasn't quite as staid, perhaps, as some of the other clubs at the time. And it had a good international presence and an outlook. Had a twinned with a club in France, and they put a lot of effort into funding a special room for autistic children, which took several years, around 2015, to raise funds for that. And again, the focus was on mental health, which I found really quite attractive. So I joined CHEAM Rotary, and I was there until fairly recently, as we'll see. Can we have the next slide, please? So now, why I decided to join the Bipolar eClub? Why was it for me? Well, it was an opportunity to combine my commitment to Rotary, which is very strong, with my work in mental health. And I wasn't able to do that to the extent I wished as a member of CHEAM. And I went to district conference, I think it was in Guildford, in January 21. I heard Nikki Chin speaking there, and I heard Simon enthusiastically talking about this new club, this eClub. And I was really, really impressed with that, and it fired me up. And I thought, I think I might think about joining this. So that got me going. It's a club, it is different, it's a different way of doing Rotary, but it's great. It's a club with a real cause behind it. And Rotary is talking about, you know, greater number of cause-based clubs. And I'm absolutely passionate about joining and helping with its work as much as I can as a mental health professional. We're opening new ways of working and new kinds of projects that I wasn't able to do as a mental health professional in my traditional Rotary club. It's attracting a lot of diverse membership and interest, both in age and location, because it's an eClub. people can join from anywhere in the UK and potentially all over the world. And it's giving us a much greater spread of age with younger people joining, as well as some old folks like me, really. And we have online meetings. I mean, for me, it's much more flexible and it's much less of a time commitment than having to go along and have a meal, which takes up the whole evening, drive there and come back. So those are really the main reasons why I decided to join the Bipolar eClub. Can I have the next slide, please? I think what I'm trying to do here is talk about the opportunities and challenges for this new Bipolar eClub. Certainly, as I've said, attracting new people who have an interest in the cause. That would both be people who've got lived experience of bipolar, and I know there are some members who have that, and others like myself who have a real interest in the cause of supporting and improving the care that can be provided for individuals with bipolar. I mean, one of the most important that the club is trying to do something about is to reduce the length of time it takes to get diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which I understand is about 9.5 years. I mentioned that to the manager at Sutton Mental Health this morning, and they were absolutely amazed that it took that length of time. So I'm pleased to be able to, to work with the Bipolar Club as a member. I've already mentioned attracting new membership, increasing our diversity amongst members, and it is an opportunity, isn't it, to showcase Rotary as it is a worldwide movement. I mean, I don't know the figure, but there are hundreds of thousands, if not million members worldwide. This organisation that was set up just over 100 years ago in the US. And there are three things I think we need to note, really. It's able to support, sorry, a bit of a cold. It's able to support individuals in need. And we do that in many ways. I mean, another example other than bipolar is the push it's been doing for 10 years to eradicate polio. And it's been more or less pretty successful at doing that with funding from the match funding from the Gates Foundation. And hopefully we can mobilize that kind of force to do what we want to with bipolar. It's capable of an organisation capable of raising substantial funds, and it has the organisational infrastructure capable of delivering change. Those kinds of objectives that we want to achieve. It is a big organisation. We do need to work with other Rotary clubs, traditional and newer, and e-clubs to achieve what we want. We need to work together, and as Steve was saying in introduction, we do not want to poach people from traditional clubs to eClub. We want to work together with them. So I'm very much the exception for the reasons I've talked about tonight, why I transferred to the eClub from a traditional club. Finally, raising awareness of bipolar and the support available to benefit Rotary and the communities where it is based is a really, really important thing. And can't, stress how important the partnership between Bipolar UK and the new eClub is absolutely vital to achieve the best outcomes. Is that the last slide? Can you just check? I'm not sure. You have to scroll through. Is there
There's one more slide there, Peter. It's on the screen.
Okay, sorry. So what are we doing? Well, regular speaker slots, including speakers with lived experience. I think we had one a couple of months ago from the bipolar general in the US Army. I think he's retired, but I've got his book here. I haven't read it yet, but I got it for Christmas, so it's on the reading list. Professionals in mental health like me who don't necessarily have bipolar. And we can do that from across the world because we're an internet-based club. We need to engage with other Rotary clubs to increase their awareness in the build-up to a very important day in the calendar, which is the Saturday the 30th of March this year, which is World Bipolar Day. And I'm trying to do stuff with Rotary in Sutton and with Sutton Mental Health, my little contribution to that. We need to get out there and visit other Rotary clubs as eBipolar club members, attend conferences online and perhaps in person to talk about bipolar. We really need to get out there and sell ourselves and the support that's available to us. And finally, working on a global project. It's really exciting, designed to help reduce bipolar diagnosis, which I said earlier was 9.5 years, and to transform many thousands of lives for the better, really. So that's my presentation. Thank you for that opportunity. I hope it's been interesting and helpful, and that it will generate some debate or questions. I'm happy to try and take those.
Peter, on behalf of everybody in the meeting, thank you very much for that. I would like now, we've got 10 minutes to open up everyone in the group. If you've got any questions for Peter.
Yes.